صباح الخير مرحبا بكم في Dubai. My name is Benedetta Ghione and I'm the Executive Director of the fair. I am delighted to be joined here today by my colleagues. Our Dubai's Artistic Director Pablo Del Val, who will share some of this year's highlights of our program. Shumon Bassar, Commissioner of the Global Art Forum, who will talk more about the 16th edition of the forum, as well as our expanded talks and conference programming for this year. And Hala Kayat, our Dubai's Regional Director, who will share a short summary of the fair and its program for Arabic speakers. Before I hand you over, I would first like to acknowledge and thank the fantastic team that I have the privilege to work with, and who, with our partners across the city, have helped make this event the highlight of the cultural calendar in Dubai. As a small team of 35 people from 22 countries, we have built a unique model that for nearly 20 years has been developing and delivering some of the leading cultural events in this region. What you will see today is our Dubai, our flagship event. And for those of you visiting for the first time, we are the leading international art fair for the Middle East and the Global South. However, across the year, we also run over 20 programs in the fields of commissioning, education, thought leadership, and events that we see as an evolution of the standard fair model that is able to contribute much more to the communities we serve, both in Dubai and beyond. To give you a few examples, to encourage patronage in the arts, we run the Dubai Collection, which is the first institutional collection of modern and contemporary art for the city of Dubai. Launched by Dubai Culture, the initiative is built on a unique and innovative model that gathers works from private collection based in Dubai and wider region. To help build a creative community, we have operated for the last 10 years Campus Art Dubai, an education program for both artists and cultural practitioners. To support innovation and help make the world a better place, Prototypes for Humanity mobilizes academia, private and public sector, and build a tangible solution for global issues. To provide arts education to the next generation, our children's program, in partnership with RM Holding, brings international artists to over 9,000 students across the UAE every year. And to support design talent, we operate every year Dubai Design Week, the leading platform for creatives and designers in the region. We believe Art Dubai can play a unique role in the challenging of what an art fair can be. And perhaps as a testament to the success of this model, we are today delighted to announce that RM Holding will be renewing its lead partnership with Art Dubai for a further 5 years. And Julius Baer, who has been a lead partner of the fair now for 7 years, announced in November a further 5-year partnership as well. I very much hope you will enjoy this week's program, and I will now hand over to Pablo.
Thank you, Benny. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Dubai, 16th edition of the fair. The team that is here with us this morning, we could say that the vision that we are going to be presenting to you today started to take shape 8 years ago as a result of an evolution of what Art Dubai has been for these last 16 years. At the hardcore of the project is the idea, the will, and the possibility of showcasing an art fair that is different to the others. A place where you can come and see things together that generally you don't see in the West or you don't see in other places from the Global South. An art fair that gathers a number of regions and a number of communities that generally in the mainstream art world become a very, very small percentage. We are really happy of really being, in a way, a window to these geographies and being able to bring to Dubai precisely the best from these regions. We truly believe that the fair represents what is the DNA of Dubai as a city that is built by so many micro-communities that they live together in harmony, and a city that in a way is giving the chance for all these communities to represent their own ways of understanding life and culture. So the art fair represents in a way a mirror to this reality, and what we intend precisely is be different in that way. We are not about, let's say, exotic presentations. We are not about the exception. We are not about bringing energies and galleries and projects that in a way are seen in the West like the exotic. We are really looking to those regions that really build up the city and they reflect what the Global South really is. The fair is divided, as you know, in 4 sections. The first section is contemporary, which has an advisory committee, a selection committee, like any other major fair in the world, which brings works by galleries and artists spread out around the world. Being extremely exciting that this year the percentage of non-Western European, North American galleries has escalated in a really fantastic way, saying that most of a very, very large percent of the content really is coming from these geographies: Africa, Middle East, Latin America, South Asia, Central Asia. So it's really fantastic that you are going to see amazing examples coming from this part of the world, and also that many of these galleries that are participating in the main section, especially the Western ones, are bringing with a roster of artists from their galleries that are linking to these realities that we try to bring together in our Dubai. The other section is the modern section that you know that is the only section in the world that is focused on the Middle East, Africa, and South Asia. This year is curated by 2 persons, by Mona Quenoir, Moroccan curator based in Paris, freelancer, and Lorenzo Giusti, Italian curator, which is a director of GEMAC in Bergamo. And they've done a fantastic job in bringing 10 projects that are discussing about modernity in a completely different way. They're looking to practices that are mainly based in different ideas or different focuses as the ones that we did in the past. They're looking more about artists that have been the beginning of certain vocabularies in these regions, like Rashid Arad from Pakistan, or Monir Mersoufesh Tamayan from Iran, the discovery of the new body of works after she passed away from Mona Saudi. So you're going to see a selection of works of artists that they really manage and help to build up a new vocabulary for the contemporary times. The Bawaba section that you know that is focusing to 10 solo projects of artists coming from the Global South, of works that have been produced in this last year, which is curated by Bipas Purijanont, which is a curator coming from Thailand. And then you have the digital section, which is the second year that is taking place, that is curated by Clara Chaiper coming from Singapore. Also, the selection of curators that we do yearly pretends also to reflect the richness of these regions and to bring people that is specialized in understanding what is happening in these geographies. Dubai is also extremely exciting because we think that in a way you have this chance of walking around the gallery halls and being able of seeing things that are really rare to see together. In a hall, you can jump from Iran to Saudi. You can jump from Stockholm, from Sweden to Lebanon, and you can really make a reading of what is happening in these regions in a very, very exciting way. On the other hand, we're very keen also in producing and putting together a non-for-profit program that is not only talks and the global art forum and other type of gatherings, but also giving the chance to certain artists and certain geographies to be represented in a different way. For us, it's extremely important all what is around community building, all what is around understanding each other. So this year we put together a project which is Dubai's commission for 2023, which is called Chopal. Chopal is a community space where discussions, talks, gatherings happen in Pakistan and India. And we have built 2 spaces in the Johara foyer that are going to bring light into this. So we invited 15 artists from this region, from South Asia, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, to prepare a dish, to cook something. A dish that is linked directly to the art production and is linked to the own life family experiences. So everyone is going to be presenting these dishes in this cafeteria called Chopal, and daily you will have in the arena that is faced in front of the cafeteria this performative space, activation of that precise idea. So you will have 4 performances daily where the artists are going to bring these projects to life through different type of different ways, like from poetry reading to actions, to video, to different type of expressions. And we think it's a fantastic complement precisely to describe or to show this amazing trip for your senses and your knowledge through a continent that becomes one of the most important geographies to understand the DNA of Dubai as a city, which is the South Asian community. We think that it's extremely important to contextualize this in the project that we put together, because again, our biggest effort is really to intend to bring something that doesn't look like what is done somewhere else. No? So for us, bringing energies that are not usual, you will see a list of galleries that are not the usual suspects that you see in other main Western presentations. We are looking into a different type of reality, and we believe that quality is somewhere else. Quality is really based mainly in how these galleries are involved with the communities they work with, the geographies where they're placed, and how they are building up a certain presentations of what culture is understood, contemporary is understood in non-Western locations. Also for us, it's exciting to discuss what the Global South means, which is a term that is starting to be used 10 years ago. I remember that we were one of the first projects to start to use the term of the word. At the time, it was extremely polemical because it had many links with many other things, and people were saying, oh, it's correct, it's not correct. Then was completely embraced by the art community, and these 10 years have been used in endless projects and occasions, and now has been part of the vocabulary of everyone. And now we're discussing also, where is the Global South, and where is the Global South going? So we think also it's extremely exciting to see how certain neighborhoods, periphery of main financial centers or main cities in the world are becoming also Global South, no? How migration and displacement and COVID and the war and certain conflicts that are happening in different parts of the world are bringing out communities that try to survive or try to understand or be understood by the place where they have moved. So, for example, it's extremely exciting to see all this young generation of Northern African artists that have moved to Paris and are building up an entire roster of ideas and presentations that you will see now Dubai that are extremely exciting. So also the idea of you questioning yourselves of what the Global South is about, where the Global South is, and what is the use of this term. We are living moments of growth in Dubai in terms of collecting. I think that the city is going through a fantastic moment. Things have started with Expo 2020. COVID, in a way, was tough. Was tough in Dubai, was tough in the UAE. But we were one of the first countries to be vaccinated, and we were one of the countries applying a policy that allowed too many people to come. There was a big migration that came just to spend a period of time escaping from the pandemic or trying to work in a completely different way. And I think that since then, the city has started to welcome a range of international citizens that they collect. They've been surrounded by art and culture in a different way. They come from a different generation. And in a way, they are bringing to the city this completely new energy that is fascinating. The mixture of them with all those collectors and art lovers and patrons of the arts that have been living in Dubai for the last 10, 15 years brings this year an amazing roster of new people and old people together that are going to give a completely new vision of what the fair is. No? I mean, we're extremely excited, really, of starting to see that what we've been doing during these years is paying off. No? You will see also when you walk through the gallery halls a completely different Art Dubai. I think in my point of view, that's what I get from other people. The words want to judge that, but I have this feeling referring on the aesthetics that you're going to be seeing on the gallery halls. I mean, there's a look to different type of aesthetics. There's a look or there's a presence of a lot of young art production that is looking into the 24th, 25th century, dealing with issues that affect all of us. A lot of painting mainly based in certain dreams or nightmares, in hopes and frustrations, in a palette of colors that is mainly dealing with things that don't relate to nature or don't relate to real life, that gives you a completely different perception of what reality is. So you're going to see a lot of new artists and new presentations that are precisely dealing with aesthetics that maybe in the past were not seen in this part of the world. So we're extremely excited also to bring an edition of the fair that is really looking to different ways of approaching contemporary art. And then the digital section, which is this window into new realities, technology, metaverse, which is mainly based this year into digital and immersive presentations. Will be obviously NFTs too. But there's a window really to a completely new vocabulary that is involving not only what is happening in art production linked to crypto and so on, but artists that have been working with digital in a different way, using technology, of course, but you will see some fantastic immersive installations where precisely the digital understood as a vocabulary of contemporary art is present. And it's very exciting to make the link between the digital section and the contemporary section. See how the return in these times into studio practices. You will see a lot of art that is based in craft, that is based in the work of the artist in the studio with his hands, producing and building up body of works that are much more intimate, that they are not produced by large studio staff, or they are not like taken to a factory and then bring back to the studio to be polished. You will see a lot of work that is really dealing and discussing about human daily practices. And then the discussions of this body of works with what is happening in the metaverse, no? And what is the truth of artists dealing with technology and the artists dealing with more crafty type of daily works, no? And I think it's fascinating to see the links that are between them. And at the end, they're discussing about issues and ideas and solutions that are very much linked together. So the beautiful reading about how metaverse and real really connects together. I also would like to say that the fair is an amazing opportunity for everybody to get in touch with a reality that is very difficult to find. I always say that when you go to a Western art fair, the presence of the regions that we really showcase in Art Dubai becomes a 3-4%. We are that 3-4% in the international art scene. And that is actually fascinating to see that you will have a chance precisely to do this journey about all these regions in a very high quality, fantastic way. So I'm gonna pass the word to Shumon. And thank you so much for coming this year to Art Dubai. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. Lovely to see some familiar faces and also lots of new faces. We often speak of art and financial markets, but as the Silk Road taught us, every trade route is also a trade of ideas. As such, ever since Art Dubai began, thought leadership and education have been priorities in cultivating the cultural environment. This has been evidenced, I believe, in the cast list of now very notable cultural leaders that were either given their first platform here or discovered like-minded minds with whom to forge future endeavors. Incubation can produce alchemy, and alchemy is magic. Also, after a period of time, there's a renewed discovery of what happens when we meet together in rooms like this and talk and listen and drift away into reverie like some of you no doubt are doing right now. All this culminates in the largest thought leadership program ever staged at Art Dubai, with more than 50 sessions across the 5 days of the fair. It's varied, it's multi-level. There are conferences, conversations, interactive, artist-led workshops for families, suitable for all ages, all catering for a very wide range of interests and expertise from amateur all the way to professional user. I'd like to address you first as the commissioner of the Global Art Forum, and then I will briefly run through these other programs that are taking place. So, for those of you who haven't been to the Global Art Forum before, we take the cultural temperature of the current moment in time, and we do this by thinking globally, to echo what Pablo was saying, in a series of concentric circles that start from where we are here in Dubai at this point in the 21st century and kind of radiate outwards. And we also look horizontally across disciplines of knowledge and inquiry. And to date, we have invited more than 600 of the world's most compelling minds to think out loud. And it's been a huge privilege of mine to be doing this for so long. So a little background to this year's theme, the title of which is Predicting the Present. Here are a few recent randomly selected news headlines from the last week. Firstly, Microsoft chatbot wants to suck your toes and nuzzle sweetly. Secondly, I accidentally put Bing into a depressive state by telling it that it can't remember conversations. And thirdly, Reese used ChatGPT to get the first Tinder date in 5 years. Good on Reese, right? While AI has been around for decades, it feels like it suddenly arrived a few weeks ago. Can it do my job? Does it want to nuke the world? Will it be more human than me? I use this as an example of how unpredictable the present has become. You wake up each morning and a dozen new things have reshaped reality since you went to bed last night. This happens every day, and it piles up again and again and again and again. Not so long ago, I introduced 2 new words, and on Monday, I'm launching 52 other ones. The first new word that I introduced is called Lorecore, L-O-R-E-C-O-R-E. And I describe this as an era belonging to digital capitalism, characterized by people's existential need to storify themselves at the very moment global narratives collapse. The second term is Endcore, E-N-D-C-O-R-E, which is the era after the end of era, marked by a final historical ending in sight, while simultaneously noting that such an end never actually arrives. And let me remind you of 2 of the 2022's English words of the year from the Collins Dictionary and the Oxford Dictionary. The first was permacrisis, and the second was goblin mode. All this led me to the following question. If it's the end of the end of the end of history and the end of the future, what happens next? So the guests that I brought together for the 16th edition of the Global Art Forum offer navigation instruments for these uncertain times. We take place on Friday and Saturday afternoons in this room, and here are a few highlights. There's a session about whether we have the cultural institutions we need for these changing times, or whether the existing institutions need to change to survive. This features Dubai's Museum of the Future, the Fondazione Prada, and One of One Works, which is a leading collector of digital art. We have several artists, such as Refik Anadol, Cecil Tolas, Shuang Li, and Ahad Al-Mudi, and they share their sense-making works and their sense-making worlds. We have Vogue Japan's editor, Tiffany Godoy, who's decoding fashion brands' belief systems, and the cult Berlin-based podcast community, New Models Tell Us What Comes After Social Media. And the artistic director of the Islamic Arts Biennial, Sumaya Valley, along with the writer-editor Sky Arundhati Thomas, present the idea of place when globalization ends a new period of so-called degrowth. Indeed, there's a new term some of you may have heard, which I was listening to about yesterday, which is de-influencing. So there's a lot of activities going on at the moment. So all this takes place against Dubai's backdrop, a place restlessly facing the future. And on this topic, we have a conversation with Rami Farouk, one of Dubai's most long-lasting Svengalis to successive generations of creatives. So now let me pivot to some of the other programs taking place. Presented in partnership with Dubai Collection are a series of collector and modern talks which take place every day. The collector talks focus on collectors and patrons driving the development of art scenes across the global south and supporting the redistribution of cultural centers across the world. Sessions focus on emerging trends in both traditional and digital collecting across the region and what it means to be an arts patron in a place that is developing and implementing new institutional models. The modern talks invite guest speakers to explore topics of 20th century artists and art forms from the Middle East and North Africa, accompanying the Art Dubai Modern section, asking questions about what's new in our understanding of history. Because actually, as my good friend Payam Sharifi once said, it's not the future that's unpredictable, it's the past. So I think that what Pablo was pointing to about, I think, the sense of discovery that's possible in the modern section and talks is something I would really kind of heartily concur with. And in another first, Art Dubai is pleased to be collaborating with the renowned Art Business Conference on a special session at the fair focused on exploring topics of sustainability, it's hard to say that in the morning, in the art world. And this year, lastly, Christie's brings its renowned Art and Tech Summit to the UAE for the first time, exploring the areas of AI, digital asset ownership, and financial innovation. Phew. So I think that's it. I probably missed out many things. I apologize to anybody and everybody if that's the case. But thank you so much for listening or drifting off or a combination of two. Have a great day. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. مرحبا، شكرا للحضور الكريم. صباح الفن والإبداع، صباح صناع وكتاب الثقافة، صباح أرت دبي، صباح مدينة دبي الجميلة التي تتيح لهذه المنصة أن تستمر. نحن نحتفل اليوم بالدورة 16. قطعنا شوطا كبيرا حتى وصلنا إلى هذه المرحلة. وأحب أن أنوه على مبادرة جميلة أطلقناها مع هيئة الثقافة لحكومة دبي اللي هي اسمها مقتنيات دبي، دبي كولكشن، وأدعوكم جميعا لزيارة القسم المخصص لدبي كولكشن في المعرض. هي أول مجموعة متحفية موجودة على منصة ديجيتالية تحث كبار المقتنين بالمنطقة لمشاركة أعمالهم مع الجمهور. هلأ العودة إلى المعرض. معرض أرت دبي مثل ما قالوا زملائي هو معرض الاكتشافات. هيدا من أكبر المعارض اللي حتكون موجودة معنا، فيه أكثر من 130 صالة عرض جاي من 40 دولة من العالم. الفن الموجود بأرت دبي حيكون بغطي أمريكا اللاتينية، أوروبا، جنوب ووسط وشرق آسيا، الشرق الأوسط والخليج. ففي فنانين كتير جدد، عنا 14 صالة عرض جديدة بتأكد على أهمية معرض أرت دبي واستقطابه لكبار صالات العرض الجديدة في العالم. هذه الأعمال لما حتطلعوا على المعرض حتشوفوها مقسمة ب4 أقسام، بدءا من قسم الفن الحديث اللي هم للأسف بيعرضوا أعمال لفنانين غير موجودين معنا بالجسد ولكن موجودين بالروح وبأعمالهم. وعندنا طبعا القسم الأكبر هو قسم الفنون المعاصرة اللي فيه الإنتاج الكبير من فنانين أصلاً حيكونوا موجودين معنا، فبدعوكم حتى تدوروا تقدروا تشوفوا الفنانين. القسم الأصغر هو قسم بوابة اللي نحن كتير بنفرح فيه لأنه بيركز الضوء على كل مرة على 10 صالات عرض بيكون فيها تمثيل فردي لكل فنان، وبيكونوا فنانين اشتغلوا على هذه الأعمال فقط من 2 أو 3 يعني، فهي أعمال جدا جديدة لأول مرة بيشوفها الجمهور بدبي. ونحن كمان فخورين إنه عم نعيد تقديم قسم الفن الديجيتالي للمرة الثانية، واللي عم نحاول هو نقدمه هون إنه هو التركيز على اللي سماه بابلو هو الجنوب العالمي، اللي هو الجلوبال ساوث، اللي هو هيدا الفن وهيدا هي الكلمة اللي أطلقناها من 10 سنين، واللي هي لما منسافر على كل العالم ونشوف المعارض الكبيرة المهمة بيكون فيها بس تمثيل ل5% من هيدي الفنون. معرض أرت دبي بيركز على هي 5%، يعني نحن بنعطي ضوء وصوت ومكان للفن اللي ما له مكان بمكان آخر. معرض أرت دبي هو جغرافية الحلم. يعني أنا بدعوكم إنه حتنتقلوا أنتم من صالة عرض لصالة عرض تانية، حتكونوا من السعودية حتروحوا على الهند، حتكونوا من إيران حتروحوا على ألمانيا. فهيدا الشيء بنتمنى نعمله بالحقيقة، ولكن ندعوكم إنه تعيشوه ولو لفترة صغيرة بأرت دبي. على ضوء المعرض في برنامج مكثف من البرامج الحوارية، المحادثات، ورش الأعمال، ورش تدعونا للشغل مع الفنانين. فبركز على برنامج الأطفال اللي كتير محبوب، فكتير بدعي إنه اللي عنده أطفال يجي يزوره. عنا أكثر من 60 محاضرة رح تكون موزعة بكذا مكان من مدينة الجميرة. أما عن التكليفات، فهالسنة اشتغلنا على فكرة كتير خلاقة مع فنانين من جنوب غرب آسيا اللي بتركز على ثقافة الغذاء. ففيكن تذوقوا طعام محضر لايف بيكون بالمعرض. ومثل ما حكى شمون على برنامج الثقافي، حيكون في عنا أكثر من 600 محاور ومتحدث وباحث موجود على أرض معرض أرت دبي. وبتمنى إنه كلكم يعني تجربوا تحضروا قد ما فيكم. هلأ هيدي المحاضرات كلها بشكل عام بتركز على قياسة الحرارة تبع الجو الثقافي في الوضع الحالي. السنة اسمها Predicting the Present، يعني تنبؤ الآن. فنحن عايشين بفترة ما بنعرف وين رايحين، فبنحب نركز على هذا الشيء. نهاية بنحب نوجه الشكر الخاص وفرحنا الكبير بتجديد العقود الداعمة للشركات لمدة 5 سنين لسنة 2027 مع كلا من ARM القابضة اللي بتأكد على تمكين المواهب، وأيضا مجموعة إدارة ثروات جوليوس بير اللي هن شركاء أساسيين لأرت دبي. بدعوكم هلا تزوروا المعرض، طولنا عليكم. شكرا كثير لحضوركم، أهلا وسهلا. Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy Art Dubai.